Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality in a way that is extremely empowering. Speaking of exploring powerful perspectives, I'm super excited to announce the release of my very first book, The Golden Key: Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance. If you're ready to alchemize the circumstances in your life so that your abundance expands to an entirely new level in 2021, head over to goldenkey.gift to download the audio or ebook as my gift to you by using the code POSITIVEHEAD.
All right, all you positive heads, welcome one and all. I'm very grateful that you have joined me today on another beautiful day on this magical planet Earth. And lately on Thursdays, we have been letting the crystals do the show. And what's really interesting to me is that these crystals really want to be heard. They have a message for us right now, and they really want us to pay attention, because I have been getting so much come through in other ways about crystals, namely in my QHHT sessions. And I had a really interesting one yesterday where the client went to the Crystal City. And the Crystal City is a place that many people go to in their minds, not necessarily in a session always, but a lot of people see this place. Maybe you have seen this place. This is a place that many of us have visited and we remember and we know of and we go to often. But it was really cool to explore this space in this trance-like state that we are in a QHHT session. And so I wanted to share a little bit about what this place was like from this client's perspective when she was there, and also to just talk a little bit more about these crystals in general and what they are and why they're so important. And we've touched on this here and there over the last couple weeks about their value and about their importance. But yesterday, what came through in this session was basically all of that, all of the reminders all in one. And the very first thing that came through is that they are all pieces of consciousness, all beings, living beings of consciousness, very, very loving beings. And also, what I also want to say before I go any further is the session I had before this, I had a woman who, after her life that she experienced, went through the death scene and went then on to the spirit side to explore that. And I don't do that very often either, but this is where her session guided her to go. And so that's what we explored. And what she saw as soon as she started to transition was a big, essentially crystal city. She didn't call it a crystal city. She called it a big, huge, like crystal building made of light that was pulling her towards it. And so it's essentially the same thing, this crystal city that the client yesterday was talking about. It's just that we perceive it from our own individual perspective. But it is this place on the spirit side where we go to when we die, and also where we are before we incarnate here. It's the place where our records are. It's the place where we make our plans. It's the place where we heal. And it's the place where we learn. We learn before coming in here. So lots goes on in this place, and even more than I thought. And I got to learn about this yesterday. And what's also interesting about this is this information was new to me, but when I told my partner about it, he had just read it in one of Michael Newton's books. And who knows if it's in one of Dolores Cannon's books that I haven't read yet, or something that I don't remember reading. Who knows? That happens all the time. But regardless, the fact that when I told my partner about it, he said that's really weird because I was literally just reading about this very concept in Michael Newton's book. So these things come through as affirmations in so many ways. And speaking of, also another affirmation that I got personally was that, so I said before how this crystal city comes through to many people. One of the people who I'm thinking of that this city comes to or comes through or they go to all the time is my friend Tracy Mahan. And she's been on the show a bunch of times with me. But this was a topic of conversation the last time we all met together here in Sedona, Arizona. And we talked about this city, and they had asked me about it when I was in trance. And my response to it was exactly what was described from the client yesterday. And of course, she had no idea. No one has any idea what was said there except for those people who were in the room. But that was a good affirmation to me because, who really knows what the answer is? And it could just all be perception, and it is all perception anyway. But it's nice to know that we all perceive the same thing. Even if it is in different ways, the concepts are the same. And so that's what I always take out of it is the general broad concepts. The details are completely irrelevant. It is the concept that is really important and that matters. And so one of the things that came through too is something that always comes through in sessions like this, and it is the same for every single client, is when they are in a light body, it is a body of light shaped in human form, and everyone describes it this way. And so this is what this client saw herself as in this crystal city. And what was neat is that they don't need to eat. Obviously, you're in spirit form, but they can choose to. They can choose to garden and eat when they want. And the reason for doing that is to experience the light and the vibration of that plant. How beautiful is that? To share in that energy. It's a mutually beneficial relationship. And so we can choose to do those things on the spirit side as well. And there we are connected with our soul family. Our soul family is there with us, communing with us, laughing with us. This client had a really good time there, laughing at a lot of things and how humorous it is on that side and from that perspective. Because what she said was that they go on adventures, and sometimes they go on adventures together, and sometimes they don't, but they always come back here, and then they look back and they laugh at themselves, and they laugh at how funny it was and how they reacted to things, because from this perspective, it is so incredibly different and detached and peaceful, and you see it like the experience that it was, knowing that it was just an illusion, because from the spirit side, you have that perspective. You know it's all a game, and you get to assess how well you played that game. And it's really fun for you to sit around with your friends and laugh at yourself, how you did it, and then plan for the next go around. And what's neat about planning for the next go around is that this client talked about all the different ways that we can do that there. And one of the ways is to go into these different shaped buildings, and they're all made of crystal, clear quartz crystal. And of course, that's what we have been talking about last week. And all of these different buildings with the different shapes had different energies to them and were for different purposes. So, for example, she went into the sphere a lot. She liked that one. And the sphere is what helped her and other beings to learn about the emotions of the human body. And by doing that, they were then more able to handle them when they actually get into the physical body. It's like practice, she called it. So they go and we practice all of these different things before we come into this body because it's so difficult. And from the perspective over there, it looks so easy. We think we can handle it. We think we know better. We think we're going to be able to do it. But it's a whole different story once we get here. And so there's some of us who practice a lot, and there's some of us who think, we got this, and we don't practice at all. And those are the ones of us who have the hardest time here, that become completely overwhelmed because the emotion is so hard, or the task is so hard, or everything is hard because the practice wasn't there. And it's an interesting way to look at it. And here's the thing you can do about it if life feels this way. We all have access to this crystal city. We all have access to our spirit on that spirit side, all existing right now, all happening right now. And so we can get quiet and tune in, and we can go to this place in our minds. And we can go into these vibrations and these shaped buildings if we so choose, and we can learn and remember and ask for help in understanding these emotions. What's really interesting is that the crystals are here to help us. This client said that they are a gift from Source in order to help bring in these energies to help us remember. And they are here in the physical on Earth for that purpose. That is what they're here for, to help us remember. And the more we can remember and the more we practice and work with them, the more they work with us. It's like she described this gradual process of learning. And along each step, you have more access to the knowledge, more access to the crystals. As you learn, they work with you more. And so you can kind of climb the steps and gain more and more and more access as you work with them. I know for myself that I don't personally go to the Crystal City, or maybe the place I go to is in the Crystal City, who knows, but I go to a crystal cave. And this cave I know others have seen as well, but it is like a complete circle of crystals in this cave. And actually, it changes color depending on what my needs are at that point in time. And so we go to these places in our minds, and this is how we connect. And so the more we work with this connection in our minds by building that bridge, the stronger it gets. And that's one of the things that we do on the spirit side, or that's one of the things this client was doing, is that she spent so much time talking to the crystals. And she said how helpful they were, and that whatever you wanted to know or to feel, they could help you with that. And that they were guides. That's really what they were. They were guides that resonate and vibrate at a certain frequency. And we are able to tune our vibration with the crystals in order to have an experience so that we can learn, so that we can grow. And in this way, we are in service to the all, because all Source wants to do is learn. And that's why we're here experiencing, is because Source wanted to experience. That was it. Source wanted to experience. And so Source sparked us out as tiny little sparks of itself to go out and have experiences and learn, and then be able to bring that knowledge back. And one of the ways that knowledge goes back is through the crystals. The crystals communicate all of this knowledge multi-dimensionally through time and space, recording it, receiving it, sending it out. They do all of these things. They're pretty amazing. Another thing that this client talked about yesterday was that not only could you go into the shapes of the buildings and in those different vibrations learn different things, for example, like just how to deal with the human body, how to travel from your light body into the physical body, like I said, how to deal with emotions. But also, one of the places she called the fractal place. And in the fractal place is where you got to play with the colors. And the colors also prepare you for the body. And the reason why all of this preparation is necessary is because we are light beings. We are used to being free and light and having this knowledge that we are all one and that there is no separation here, and filled with this incredible love and light, and just knowing that that's all there is. That's what we truly are. So we come into this experience to learn lessons, to learn other things, because otherwise there's not a lot of learning. It would just happen really, really slowly. So we choose to come here so we can learn a little faster. But this body is so restrictive. It's so incredibly restrictive to our spirit form. To our spirit, it feels like, she described it as being stuck in a corked bottle, like stuffed in and completely stuck and then corked. And that need to like get out of that bottle is what is causing us pain, but it's also what's helping us learn. As she described it, she said, it's what is actually showing us what to focus on. Essentially, when we have the contrast, we now know what we want and what to focus on. And it's such a beautiful design, although from this illusion that we are sitting in 3D, doesn't feel that way all the time. But from the spirit side, they say what an honorable pathway it is to choose, because it is the most difficult path. We don't have to choose to come into a body. We can stay up there as long as we want. Up there, like there's an up there. But we can stay there for how long we want, however long we want. For all eternity, really, it would get a little old. We might get a little bored. And eventually, we do come in and decide to learn these beautiful lessons that we're here learning. And remember, when we go back to this other side, the spirit side, we do look back at ourselves and laugh. Because we see how hard we made it on ourselves, how we made everything more complicated than it had to be. From that side, we see how simple it really is, and how, in our human perspective, we made it so difficult. But we don't have to make it difficult. We can connect with this aspect of ourselves. We can go to the crystal city, go to the crystal cave, wherever you want to go to in your mind where you feel connected. Or even pick up a crystal. Pick up one that resonates with you, that you are speaking with, that you feel the energy of, and ask for guidance. Go to the place, pick up the crystal, however it resonates with you, and ask for guidance. And you will be shown. It's a matter of trusting and allowing yourself to listen to it. Trusting the simplicity of it. I know I still have a hard time trusting the simplicity of things, because how could it possibly be that simple? Because it is. Because it is. We can just let it be. And also remember that this is a place that we all go to when we sleep. So we can ask also to remember. Or we can ask questions before we go to sleep. Or we can do this in meditation. However we want to do it, to ask for guidance. Or we can sit with the colors ourselves of the crystals and talk to them and ask them about their vibration and how to work with them. And by doing this, you will also have an understanding of yourself, of your energy system. We are light bodies made of all of these colors. All of our energy systems have a color. They're called chakras, right? And each one has a certain vibration, and it's all the same. The red crystals have the same vibration as the root chakra, so on and so forth. And so it's really interesting to be able to sit and work with the colors, work with the crystals, the colors of the crystals, the light. It's all the same thing. So the very last thing I wanted to share with you all was that before we come into this life, what this client saw is that they have a humongous party for us on the spirit side. That our whole entire soul family gets together and have a huge celebration of the life that we are about to go into. And so I just thought this was a really great reminder today to see this life from that perspective, because I feel like it really eases our burden of this life. It does feel so heavy. It feels so restrictive because we know we're beings of light. We know we can fly. We know we are light. We know we are love. And in this world, sometimes it just gets a little overwhelming. And so I'm very grateful for the crystals for coming through and giving us this message in so many different ways and sharing their vibration with us and helping us and guiding us. They are solidified light. That's how I see them. Solidified light. Light guides sharing their light codes. I love you all so, so much. I'm going to play you a very appropriate song today by Fia called Light Codes. Until next time. I love you all.
Also, before we cue up today's song, as a quick reminder, don't forget to download the Golden Key audio or ebook as my free gift to you at goldenkey.gift using the Golden Key code POSITIVEHEAD. And please, if you enjoy my gift, leave a positive review on Amazon so others can unlock their lives with the help of the Golden Key as well.
Dear divine star child, you who stare at the moon, I know that you're longing for home, the place that you came from. Life on earth in this body, a brave and beautiful choice. You have everything you need, just remember to breathe. The codes of light you carry inside anchor a new way of life. Heart-centered being, awareness and seeing. You are out on the leading edge. Rise up tall, use your voice, straighten the crown on your head. We need you to fully be here, embodied and clear. Know you're held, oh so loved, adored by the earth and the heavens above. You have everything you need, just remember to breathe. The codes of light you carry inside anchor a new way of life. Heart-centered being, awareness and seeing. You are out on the leading edge. A global awakening, a rising of frequency. These are intense and thrilling times. The codes of light you carry inside anchor a new way of life. Heart-centered being, awareness and seeing. You are out on the leading edge. The codes of light you carry inside anchor a new way of life. Heart-centered being, awareness and seeing. You are out on the leading edge. Codes of light you carry inside anchor a new way of life. Heart-centered being, awareness and seeing. You are out on the leading